everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is that anything is here at home. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. When holy water was rare at best, it barely wet my fingertips, but now I have to hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of it. Used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down, but I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Child's face, say it's not a testament, that'd be very hard to say. See another new morning come, say it's not a sacrament, I tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood, I saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush and singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down, but I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now.
part of my life that's important, a part that too easily slips away, keeps me at night by a small reading light, with a ream full of things left to say. I'm sorry my folks don't understand me, and I'm sorry old friends are still slaves. I'm sorry I'm so disappointing to those who can't see how much courage this takes. And it keeps me at night by a small reading light, with a will that's compelled to go on, reaching for minds well ahead of their times, so the sadness can leave my song. Outside on the steps where I sit between pacing, my chin and my heart in my hand, a bird flying by leaves a tear in my eye, for the dream still asleep in the sand. I have friends with power and money, and while some of our dreams sound the same, I have friends who don't have a bed or a coat, so I stand in between in the rain, like a leaf that let go and got caught in a web, is suspended just feet from the ground. I can't stop the wind or start over again, even if half the world's looking down. What kind of world curses a girl and tells her she's less than a man? And what kind of truth turns on a youth whose life doesn't work out according to plan? Maybe I spread my umbrellas to gold. To prove themselves right, they abandon the fight, right along with the vision they sold. And it keeps me at night by a small reading light, or in front of the world with my prayer that those who survive the inherited lie can help others to freedom out there. Like a leaf on the wind, all at once left suspended, alone for the turbulent ride. I can't join the rest to retire in the grass without sharing my piece of the sky.
Good morning. I'm Jennifer Russell, and I've been a member here at All Souls Shreveport for a little over 5 years. Thank you for joining us for worship today. Whatever your age, ability, origin, gender, race, identity, orientation, status, or background, if you want to worship with us, you are welcome. As Unitarian Universalists, we use the word worship going back to its roots in Old English, which means to elevate and contemplate matters of worth. We are a theologically diverse community, and our matters of worth are many and varied. But we come together in celebration of that which is greater, whether that's deeper human connection and relationships, our common struggle for justice, God as we each understand God, nature, or any profound mystery. Here we find that diversity of belief and opinion add depth to the experience of community. In our community, we have found that we need not think alike to love alike. We are united, therefore, not by creed, but by a covenant to support each other on the spiritual journey and to work together for a better world. Our minister is the Reverend Barbara Gerald, who will be participating later in the service. She has also graciously allowed us the use of her music during these services, and for that we are grateful. Peter Mayer has also agreed to allow use of his music, and if you signed on a little before the 11 o'clock hour, you heard music from both Peter and Barbara. As we prepare to enter the spirit of worship, please remember to rid your environment of any unnecessary distractions. Today, we have the pleasure of welcoming as our guest speaker, Ms. Mollie Corbett. Mollie is the founder of Outlier, an organization which advocates for and supports survivors of sexual assault and abuse. She'll discuss her work and some parts of her own story as a survivor during her sermon today. So I'd like you to give you a little heads up about that right now. If this is a difficult topic for you, please do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself during that portion of the service. Those watching with young children should be aware that Mollie is a parent herself and is aware of the children's attendance at the service today, and she's going to discuss these topics in a way that's sensitive to our young congregants. I will introduce Mollie again just prior to when she speaks so that people can make decisions about how they will participate in that part of the service. Thank you very much, and again, welcome. All right, I'm going to need some help from the kids that are watching to help with our chalice lighting. You guys who attend our church know this one. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open mind. This is the church of the helping hands. This is the church of the loving heart. And I'd also like to share with you some words from Atticus Palmer. We call this light before us in hope that we may always remain a strong community, working together to make the world a better place. When we are grieving or sad, when we are challenged, when we need help, the flame guides us out of that darkness. When we are cheerful, when we celebrate, when we accomplish a great task, when we return to a place that makes us happy, the chalice reminds us to share our happiness with others. We're now going to hear a few words from our minister, Reverend Barbara Gerald, followed by some words from our Director of Lifespan Religious Education, Ms. Susan Caldwell.
Thank you, Jennifer. Open my eyes, illumine me. Thank you all so much for joining us here this morning. I hope you understand that we really want to know how you're doing. We really want to be community to each other, even when we can't meet face to face. So if there are things that you need, please let us know. We probably can't address everything in the world, but we can address the things that are within our power, and we don't know what those are if you don't share them with us. There are a number of ways that you can do that, and I'm sure that our board president will share some of that a little later. There are things posted on our website for ways to connect and things pasted on the Facebook page. I wanted to share A few words from Hannah Arendt. Even in the darkest times, we have the right to expect some illumination. Such illumination may well come less from theories and concepts than from uncertain, flickering, and often weak light that some, and she said men and women, I will say people, in their lives and works will kindle under almost all circumstances and shed over the time span that was given them on earth. May we find the courage and the character to be those lights in this time. No blarney, no superficial posturing, but the light of kindness, of concern and compassion, interest, hope, love, and the voice of truth. I want to invite you not to use this time to enhance your preferred coping mechanisms, but to stop. Don't just do something, sit there and come to grips with things so that you can make a different choice. Do things that respect you, perhaps more than the ways that we habitually cope. These are challenging times, and they call us to be our bests. We will come through this. We will come through this together, and we can absolutely come through this stronger and better. Thanks again for being here, and we hope you enjoy the service. Miss Susan?
Good morning. It's so great to have everybody joining us this morning. I've been able to say hi to some of you on Facebook, and I'm just delighted that you're out there, and virtual hug for everybody until we can really hug again. I spoke last week a little bit about some things that you can do right now to help the world, as we were talking about last week, to strengthen the web. And I'll just mention that again. And I have another way this week, which is also, again, washing your hands, because the more that you do that, the better. Whenever you touch anything, whenever you do anything, just make a point to go and wash your hands. And that can get kind of boring, I realize. So I have a new way to do it this week, and it's with all 7 principles. And I will put this little rhyme on the RE page later, but it kind of goes like this. And remember, you're gonna, it comes in at just a little over 20 seconds. So it's 1, everyone's important. 2, kind and fair will be. 3, be friends and learn together. 4, seek truth responsibly. 5, every vote should count. 6, build a world that's peaceful, fair, and free. 7, we're all in this together. You and you and you and me. Thanks. You'll have a safe week. And for the families, we will see you about 5 minutes after the service ends for our family RE time. And for middle school and high school youth, we are, Noah Wagstaff and I are going to have a check-in with you this afternoon about 3 p.m. We would love to, or your friends or somebody will tell you about that. We would love to see you this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Susan. Our call to worship and action today comes with words from Sharon Wiley. It is said that ministers are here to comfort the afflicted and to afflict the comfortable. I say we are all afflicted and we are all comfortable. May our time together this morning be a comfort and a confrontation. May we here find peace in lives of tumult. May we here invite tumult into lives of peace. May we here find calm in times of restlessness. May we here allow restlessness to evolve into action. Let this be the place you consider what you've never considered. Let this be the place you imagine for yourself something new and unthinkable. May this hour bring dreams of new ways of being in the world. Come, let us worship together.
Gather the spirit, harvest the power. Our separate fires will kindle one flame. Witness the mystery of this hour. Our trials in the light appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength. Gather to celebrate once again.
I'd ask you now to join me in our unison affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the sacred. Thus do we covenant with each other. And now we're going to hear a few words from our board president, Bennett Upton, who has been working tirelessly to find creative ways of keeping our congregation connected, cared for, and healthy. Bennett?
Hi, good morning. I'm Bennett Upton, the board president, and yes, I just wanted to say a few things. There are a lot of things that we can do to take care of ourselves and to take care of each other during this. One, you can get some good exercise, you can spend some time outside. Eating well also really helps out, but what we're concerned with here at All Souls is generally about staying connected. And that's how you can take care of yourself and also take care of your community by joining us, reaching out to us, remembering that not only does it benefit you to reach out to us if you have something that's going wrong, but also there may be other people in your community that want to hear from you as well and would appreciate it if you reached out to them. And if there are a number of ways that you can reach out to us and let us know what's happening in your life. If things are going wrong, if things are going right, if things are great, if things are terrible, let us know. We want to hear from you. You can post on our Facebook page. You can send us an email to the office email or to my email directly. There's a Slack channel. If you would like to get onto our Slack channel, you can just let me know and I will send you an invite. Today at 1 o'clock, I would like to start the new UU class, which is an introduction to Unitarian Universalism. And it'll be a lot of group discussion. There'll be some learning about UU history, the theology that kind of undergirds it. It's an interesting class, whether you're new to the church or whether you've been around for a long, long time. At 1 o'clock today, if I know that you might be interested, I will send you a Zoom link. So if you don't hear from me before 1 o'clock today, then send me an email. My email address is out there, or post onto the Facebook page. I'll be looking for you to try and get you engaged. So please let me know. Hope today finds you well.
Thank you, Bennett. During this time of our church year, when we turn our focus toward social justice, we often deal with topics and problems in our world that evoke a lot of negative emotions for all of us. Dr. Brene Brown is a sociologist, author, storyteller, and researcher from the University of Houston. She studies shame, vulnerability, and other topics. I've found her words to be immensely helpful in my own personal life, in my professional life as a psychologist, helping people navigate times of challenge and struggle in their own lives. And I hope these words will be helpful for you too. In her book, Rising Strong, Dr. Brown writes, "When we deny our stories and disengage from tough emotions, they don't go away. Instead, they own us, they define us. Our job is not to deny the story, but to defy the ending. I will choose how this story ends." And now we're going to turn to Miss Susan, who has a story for some of our younger congregants.
Thanks. Oops, but it's not the end. This story is entitled Max is the Boss of His Body. It's by Samantha Kurtzman-Counter and Abby Schiller, and it's illustrated by Valentina Ventimiglia. Today was a special day. It was Miles's 6th birthday. He bounced up the front steps after school, excited to celebrate with his family. Miles could smell a yummy birthday cake baking in the oven. He sniffed his way happily into the kitchen where he ran into Grandpa. "Come here, dear old Grandpa, Tiger." Miles loved his grandpa a lot, but he didn't love getting his cheeks pinched. "Happy birthday, you little old man." I don't know, I'm not crazy about getting my cheeks pinched either. Then Miles's older brother, Scotty, walked into the kitchen. "Hey, is it still your birthday, Squirt?" Uh-huh, Miles was trying to be cool. Scotty playfully grabbed Miles in a neck hold and started his big brother birthday tradition, "Birthday noogies." Hearing the scuffle, Mom entered the kitchen with little Max. "Boy, stop roughhousing. Pizza should be here any minute." Birthday pizza! Miles had been waiting all day for his favorite double meaty pepperoni, sausage, pineapple, holy onions, extra cheesy birthday pizza. Yes, for my LTA friends, there is pineapple on that pizza. "And your Aunt Millie called and told me to give you a big birthday squeeze." And Mom knelt down and hugged Miles super tight. And Miles is like, "Oh." Then Dad got home. He excitedly lifted the birthday boy into the air, but Miles didn't want to be lifted. "Dad, please put me down." Thankfully, the doorbell rang. "Birthday pizza! Yay!" As Miles started running to the door, Max grabbed his shirt. "Max, let go." Max held on tight as Miles struggled to answer the door. It was so frustrating. "I got you. Arg." But when Miles opened the door, it wasn't birthday pizza. After all, it was a great big guy in a chicken suit. "Paka!" And then the chicken began to sing and dance. "Oh, I'm the birthday chicken, and I'm here to say, happy birthday, Miles, it's your special day. I came here all the way from the old chicken coop. I came to make you laugh, so don't make chicken soup. Happy birthday, Miles." Miles didn't know what to say. A birthday chicken was definitely different. Thanks, birthday chicken." And see how he's putting out his hand for a handshake, which is really all he wants. "Sure thing," says the chicken, "and every birthday boy gets a chicken tickle, but I don't like to be tickled." And you can tell by Miles's face, I always want to call him Max, I don't know why, by Miles's face, that he doesn't like to be tickled. Finally, the pizza arrived. Hey, little man. Hey, chicken. Did somebody order pizza? And the chicken says, it's Miles's birthday. The pizza guy reached out to pat Miles on the head. Happy birthday, little ripper. Miles could not take it anymore. Everybody cut it out. Miles stormed inside to talk to his family. He had had enough. So he's sitting them all down. He means business. Excuse me, please. I have something I want to say. It is my birthday, and I am tired of being pinched, noogied, hugged too tight, picked up, grabbed, tickled, and touched in ways that I don't like. I am 6 years old, and I'm the boss of my body. And Miles stomped angrily off to his bedroom and shut the door. Miles felt confused. He really loved his family, but he didn't feel like they were respecting how he wanted to be treated. A few minutes later, Miles's mom knocked on his bedroom door and asked to come in. Am I in trouble? No, says his mom. We're here to tell you how proud we are of you. And his dad says, no one should ever touch you in ways you don't want to be touched. We're sorry, dude. And see, now Miles wants to hug his little brother, and his little brother wants to hug him. And he says, but what if I don't want to hug or kiss someone? Can I just wave or give a handshake to be polite instead? And mom says, sounds like a plan. And dad says, you can decide what feels right, buddy. And the whole family gathered around the birthday cake to celebrate. Proud to be the boss of his body, Miles stood tall and felt so happy to know that his family loved and respected him. He couldn't imagine a greater birthday gift in the whole wide world. This is the best birthday ever. Happy birthday, Miles. The end. Remember, you are the boss of your body, and you get to decide if you want to hug somebody or shake hands, and now we can't go around hugging everybody anyway. So this is a good time for maybe all of us to reset and really think about each other's boundaries and what's comfortable for us and what's not. So that's my message today. You're the boss of your body.
Good morning. It is so good to be here with you. For this meditation, first of all, let yourself settle into a comfortable position, spine straight. You can keep your eyes closed or open, whatever feels most comfortable to you. And begin with a few deep breaths. And as you breathe, shift your attention to your heart. And as you breathe in and out, feel that that breath is coming directly in and out of your heart space, that you're breathing with your heart. And take a moment to become more familiar with all the qualities and gifts of heart that are in this space. In this space are openness and clarity, peace and presence, safety and balance. And here is the place where kindness and compassion are found, where they can deepen and expand and flow. Take a moment to immerse yourself in all the gifts of the heart. Let them get stronger. And as that loving kindness strengthens, let it become a stream, flowing to each and every part of you, bringing healing well-being, freedom from suffering. To old memories and patterns of the past, welcome them into the stream and flow of kindness. To present uncertainties and obstacles, welcome them into the flow. To self-judgments and limitations, to future anxieties and fears, to each and every part of you, welcome them into the endless stream of kindness and compassion. Welcome, welcome, welcome. May I be happy. May I be free from suffering. And allow this stream of kindness to become a river. Let this river of kindness and compassion flow outward, ever wider and deeper, touching the lives of people you care about, inviting their hearts into the awakening journey of kindness and compassion. Let this river of compassion flow further, stronger and deeper and wider, sharing its gifts. To the confused, may it bring clarity. To those who grieve, may it bring comfort. To those who are lost, may it bring guidance. To those who fear, may it bring peace. To each and all, may the kindness and compassion of the heart bring happiness and freedom from suffering. Welcome, welcome, welcome all. May all be free. Let this limitless river of kindness widen and deepen again and yet again, embracing the earth itself, embracing all of life, all living beings, born and yet to be born, great and small, visible and invisible. May all beings everywhere be happy. May all beings everywhere be free from suffering. Just let that space of the heart continue to radiate and glow and flow, ever outward, ever connecting, free, balanced, centered.
Before I introduce our speaker, I'd like to share some words with you from the founder of the Me Too movement, Tarana Burke. She says, "We want to turn victims into survivors and survivors into thrivers. When one person says, 'Yeah, me too,' it gives permission for others to open up. People are trying to find an outlet to tell their truths. An exchange of empathy provides an entry point for a lot of people to see what healing feels like." We are very grateful this morning to welcome Mollie Corbett to All Souls. Mollie is a sexual trauma survivor, artist, and commercial photographer working and living in Shreveport, Louisiana. When Mollie was 5 years old, the babysitter's son stole something from her. With stories to tell their truth and to give and receive empathy and continue their healing process. Before Mollie speaks, we'll share with you a short video regarding her work with Outlier.
I'm Mollie Corbett, and when I was 5 years old, the babysitter's son stole something from me, and with Outlier, I'm stealing it back. I've been on a journey from victim to survivor to advocate, and I am looking for traveling companions. With the help of some friends of mine, I started an advocacy art exhibit in Shreveport. I myself am in the show, and I found other survivors throughout the region who were willing to be photographed and had the courage to be identified on the wall as sexual assault survivors. And we opened to a packed house. We had so many disclosures that night that we had counselors on hand to help make sure that these victims got the help that they needed. If that could happen in Shreveport, it could happen anywhere. It's a powerfully redemptive story that we're telling, and that is where the Outlier Project got its wings. We're taking Outlier on the road. We're going to invite you into these private conversations of outliers who, one by one, are going to share with you the horrific crimes that were committed against them. And then we're going to broadcast that to the world and show the healing transformation of shared story. We want to go to the different cities of the United States and find the outliers there and photograph them beautifully and with dignity so that others can see their courage, stand up for themselves, let their voice be heard, and become themselves advocates. And that got me thinking, what if what makes us different can empower us and make us strong? What we know is that we're not alone. Our numbers are not small. There are literally hundreds of thousands of us in the United States alone. But some of us have told our stories and found the help we needed, and we're now empowered to be advocates for others, and that is what makes us outliers. I know how it feels to hear a terrible story and feel helpless to do anything about it. We've shared our hashtags on social media, but now what? Here's an opportunity to effect lasting positive change in the area of sexual assault. We can end this pandemic, but we must work together.
Okay, it looks like it's my turn. Good morning. I'm Mollie Corbett, and it has been an incredible pleasure to be with you today in this beautiful service. What a welcoming way to start our day on a Sunday. Even though we cannot be together, being together here in spirit, it's wonderful, and I'm grateful. I'd like to thank Susan Caldwell for inviting me to speak today. And also the video that you just saw, I need to give thanks to my friends at Fairfield Studios for helping me achieve that video. And also to the Gingerbread House for the little figurines that you saw in the video. Those are actual figurines that they use to help with forensic interviews of children who have been through the worst day of their lives, and sometimes multiple days. And we're very grateful for their help with Outlier and their partnership with us. I was having a conversation the other day with a friend of mine, and his name is Andy. we, of course, were catching up on what was going on in each of our lives. And then we started to talk about this pandemic that we're in. And Andy said to me, I wish the world was as angry about sexual abuse as it is about the coronavirus. And that profound statement hit me square between the eyes. And then I got to thinking about the similarities between the pandemic of coronavirus and the pandemic of sexual trauma. Now, it's very important to me that you know that I am in no way diminishing the urgency of the current pandemic of COVID-19. It is very serious and we need to take it seriously and follow protocols and advisories as they are given to us. But it could be helpful for us to understand the scope of the problem with sexual trauma if we make some comparisons to these two pandemics. First of all, what impact has it had on us? Both pandemics now. Social and physical distancing, personal protective equipment protocols, and staying at home and sheltering in place. That's what we are supposed to be doing for the coronavirus pandemic. But how does it spread? Here's where the similarities become really poignant. They both spread person to person. Both sexual trauma and the COVID-19 pandemic are no respecter of person, universal impact. There is no race, color, creed, gender identity that has not been affected by this pandemic. And it is the same for sexual trauma. A third similarity is that they're both hard to see. Sometimes you may encounter someone who has COVID-19 and they don't show it. You can't tell just by looking at them. Well, it is the same with victims of sexual trauma. It's not always readily apparent that someone has been through something quite like that. And we can miss it and not see it until it's too late. Numbers. The numbers of the pandemic of coronavirus have been very frightening and they grow exponentially by the day. But let's talk about their comparison to numbers of sexual trauma. This gets back to Andy's statement about being angry about the pandemic of sexual violence. Right now, according to the Federal Bureau of Prisons, we have 91 inmates that have been positively tested for coronavirus. In the United States alone, per year, 80,000 inmates have an experience of sexual violence every year. For children, it's rare that they're affected by coronavirus. And I was really struggling to find numbers for children. I could not find that in my research. But I am here to tell you that in the pandemic of sexual violence, 60,000 children a year have a sexually violent experience. Of the general population, 278,000 have been affected by COVID-19. 278,000. Sexual violence, 430,000 per year. And finally, the members of our military who are fighting to protect our freedom and our way of life, and doing so valiantly, 893 so far have been calculated with the COVID-19 virus. And that's before we started counting the sailors on the USS Theodore Roosevelt. And I'm sure that number will grow very quickly if it hasn't already done so today. But military personnel who have experienced sexual violence number 18.9 thousand. And again, that's per year. I'm going to ask right now that Susan Caldwell give me a high sign when I'm at 10 minutes because I did not look at my time and I want to make sure that I'm sensitive to your time. Moving on. The carriers of these viruses, so to speak. The carriers of COVID-19 could literally be anyone. But the carriers or perpetrators of sexual violence are most likely someone known to the victim. And that's 93% for juveniles. And of those, 34% are actually family members perpetrating sexual violence on the victims. They are most likely male, and they are also most likely white. Obviously, we have a huge problem. But there are differences between these two pandemics. There are differences in risk level. Authorities tell us that if we're following protocols and making sure that we're staying at home and sheltering in place, our risk of getting a serious version of this illness is very low. But with sexual violence, the numbers are quite different. 1 in 6 women and 1 in 10 men will have a sexually violent experience in their lifetime. So when you are in your group of 6 people or less, it is quite likely that one of you has this terrible story in your history. The warning signs are different. We know very clearly that with COVID-19, we're looking for coughs, sneezing, shortness of breath, inability to breathe. And that can tell us very quickly that we need to go and get help from a medical provider. But the warning signs of sexual trauma are different, and they also look like the warning signs of other kinds of sexual trauma. So it can be hard to pinpoint whether you're seeing symptoms in a victim from sexual trauma or some other kind of trauma. And it's a lot like PSD for the military. It can look very similar. With COVID-19, we can identify hotspots and try to stay away from those areas. We don't have that luxury with sexual violence. Sure, there's things like sexual trafficking and rape culture, things like that, but really there's no surefire way to pinpoint areas where we are more vulnerable and at risk to be a victim of sexual violence. With COVID-19, we isolate to save lives, but with sexual violence, isolation comes as a byproduct of what's happened to us, and it is devastating to our lives. We can control the environment for these pandemics. With COVID-19, we want to make sure that we are sheltering in place, staying at home. When we do have to go out, we go one person and we stay 6 feet away from each other and we wear a mask, most likely. And we have very specific ways of making sure, to the best of our ability, that our environment is as safe as possible to stop the spread of COVID-19. What do we do with sexual violence? Well, I'm afraid the story is quite different. We are actually creating an environment that is perfectly suited for the spread of sexual violence. First of all, sex is taboo and we are not allowed to talk about it. And so if we can't talk about sex among ourselves and with our children, we can't surely talk about sexual violence. Many times we aren't paying attention, and that creates a fertile environment for sexual violence. How many times in 18 years do you think that J.C. Dugard passed by people in the grocery store or on the sidewalk and they never realized that she was the 11-year-old who was abducted on her way to her bus stop for school? It's heartbreaking. Thank God she was finally saved, but 18 years and I believe 2 small children with her offender. Then there's the good guys. They couldn't possibly be guilty. We create an environment where if you have a good personal reputation, if you have a great persona, if you're liked and talented, you can get away with all kinds of sexual violence. I'm talking about Bill Cosby, Michael Jackson, Jerry Sandusky, Harvey Weinstein. How do they get away with it? Because we love Dr. Huxtable. We think that beat in Billie Jean is the best song ever. We love our football team at Penn State. And we sure loved that movie, Shakespeare in Love. Then we have the issue of false reporting. That gets fired back a lot of the time at advocates who are trying to give us their numbers and quite frankly, making us uncomfortable. We say, well, you know, these victims, so-called victims are just making this up to tarnish reputations. Well, I can tell you that sometimes that is true at a rate of between 2 and 8%. And that's just among the victims who are reporting. So I don't think we can say false reporting is large enough an impact for us not to pay attention to the pandemic of sexual violence. But it's not all bad news. And I'm here to emphasize one thing first and foremost. radical self-care. After my talk today with you, I am going to get off the computer, go binge some lighthearted Netflix, and have a decadent treat. Because we need to protect ourselves and bring balance to the bad news that we're hearing with the good news that we so desperately need to hear. And I encourage you to do that as well. But now, what if the knowledge that we have becomes power that compels us to action? What if, just like with the coronavirus, every website and social network you visit has a positive message applauding and encouraging victims who have come forward with their stories? What if we had better public education that addresses the following: consent, boundaries, respect, mutual caring, and what a healthy relationship looks like between two people? What if we tell our children in school, you can say yes and you can absolutely say no? What if we, instead of teaching about parts and their proper names, in addition to that, we are teaching about healthy, affirming sexuality? I recently read an article that's actually part of a book that came out of a dissertation project from Columbia University. And the partners on that project are named Jennifer S. Hirsch and Seamus Khan. And their project turned into a book entitled Sexual Citizens. And I'm so intrigued by their work. I cannot wait to get this book and devour it. But a few key points that they came across in their work. First of all, they compare the pandemic of sexual violence to a recent pandemic a few years ago that we actually have seen great success with. And that is the phenomenon of drunk driving. Maybe you remember, like I do, a time when we were watching movies in school about the devastating consequences of drunk driving. We saw legislation come about that curbed and deterred drunk driving. You can get points on your license for so many episodes of drunk driving, to the point that you may lose your driving privilege. We have universal driver's ed. You absolutely cannot drive unless you have been through that training. We've got better roads and speed bumps to slow traffic down and make it safer. We have checkpoints on holidays that involve lots of drinking. And in Louisiana, boy, do we have those holidays. We have organizations like Mothers Against Drunk Driving who are leading the charge and maintaining a consistent response to drunk driving that keeps our numbers lower than they've ever been before. We have also added a moral component. It is morally unacceptable to get yourself into a car after you've been drinking and make yourself potentially a person to bring harm to those who are on the road with you. And we've normalized the designated driver concept. So that multi-level response to drunk driving, how can we apply that successfully to sexual violence? Because we cut the fatalities of drunk driving in half with those measures. And we cut the fatalities of those under 21 by 80%. So we know it works. I saw that, Susan, I'm wrapping up. Sex education. What if we made it sexuality education? And it was inclusive, not just about heterosexual intimacy, but inclusive of LGBTQ. They need this. And studies have shown that they are absolutely more vulnerable to sexual violence. And I think it's because we don't talk about sex. And we certainly aren't going to talk about it with sex between individuals that don't fit our Judeo-Christian model. It needs to be holistic, not just sex, but sexuality, good intimacy, interpersonal interaction, age appropriate. This is a powerful vaccine against sexual violence. When we have good sexual education in Columbia University, they found that people were half as likely to become victims of rape on their campus simply because they had had good consent-driven sex education. We also need the second thing, open discussion that encourages communication. We have to have fully formed, sexually viable individuals who understand sexual and human rights and consent and boundaries and connection and love. We need it at school. We need it in youth sports. We need it in arts education. And third and finally, we need moral grounding driven by faith community values about how we should treat each other. We are perfectly and uniquely in a position as faith communities and members of faith communities to provide a framework for good living that includes sex and intimacy with trusted adults who are teaching us and are not necessarily our parents. A paradigm shift to assault cases that haven't happened yet and could be prevented. With free and open discussion, grounded in a morally sound worldview that supports comprehensive, age-appropriate sexuality education for our youth, we can stop the spread of sexual abuse, trauma, and assault. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mollie. What you've been talking about is transformation of a system that needs change. And what a lot of that requires is truth speaking. And so we're going to sing a song together about transformation and truth. And I hope you'll join me. Always the heart must be ready to hear. Always the chrysalis broken. Always the meaning in time will appear, even where no words are spoken. Always the heart must be ready to hear. Always to paradox open. All will eventually become clear, as will the path we have chosen. It's a short song. Want to sing it with me again? Always the heart must be ready to hear. Always the chrysalis broken. Always the meaning in time will appear, even where no words are spoken. Always the heart must be ready to hear. Always to paradox open. All will eventually become clear, as will the path we have chosen. Always the heart must be ready to hear.
Thank you, Mollie, and thank you, Barbara. I'm going to close today with words from Amy Zucker Morgenstern. And Amy wrote these words specifically in response and in the context of this COVID-19 pandemic that we're all experiencing right now. Never has it been more true than now. We extinguish this flame, but the sparks within us remain alight. From each of us, in our supposed solitude, the signals buzz and hum, sparkling through space one to another, connecting us invisibly but palpably. We are one, and from every window, our light shines. Please stay safe, be wise, and be well. Go in peace.